Trevor Bauer is one of the most infamous names in baseball history. From obscure warm up routines to chucking a baseball over center field after being exited from a start at Kauffman Stadium to many celebrations that are deemed too cocky for the MLB, the name Trevor Bauer will forever be synonymous with controversy in baseball. But does he deserve a second chance in the MLB? I'm Blake Flynn for TWSN, and today I'm going to cover why Bauer deserves a second chance in Major League Baseball. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more TWSN content. Now let's get into it. Now before I start, I do want to mention that there will be the discussion of topics like SA that may not be suitable for some viewers. So if you do get to that point, that's okay. But I did want to highlight before I started that there will be the mention of this in this video. So we're going to start looking back on the timeline, and we're going to start in 2020 when Bauer was pitching for the Reds. This was his first full year after he was traded from the Cleveland Indians to Cincinnati, and this was also the 2020 shortened COVID year. In this year, Bauer went 5-4 with a 1.73 ERA, which led the league. He threw two complete game shutouts, which also led the league. He also led the league in the lowest WHIP and hits per nine. This led to Bauer being awarded the Cy Young for this season. And in 2021, he was a free agent, and he elected not to re-sign with the Cincinnati Reds. Instead, opted to sign a 3-year, $102 million deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Bauer in 2021 pitched only 17 games for the Dodgers, going 8-5 with a 2.59 ERA, and he had a decent WHIP, about around the league average, and striking out about 12 per game. And in July of 2021 is where things began to take a turn when Lindsey Hill, a woman that Bauer had previously hooked up with, accused Bauer of sexual assault and battery, claiming that Bauer choked her out and beat her during their hookup, and he was handed a 324 game suspension by the MLB for violating the domestic abuse policy. And this was one of the biggest suspensions ever for this policy in the likes of MLB history. It should be worth noting that Trevor Bauer ended up never being convicted of a crime nor found liable or guilty of a crime. Bauer ended up countersuing for defamation after leaking numerous texts from Hill claiming that this was all a setup, saying things like the next victim, current Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher, and there's a lot more that I'm not really going to discuss. But again, like I said, Bauer was never convicted of a crime or found liable or guilty. Bauer suspension was reduced to 194 games, and in October of 2023, the lawsuits were settled with no money exchanged. And in December, that suspension ended up being terminated, which led Bauer to be free to sign with anyone after his contract was terminated with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So in December, Bauer decides to sign with the Yokohama Bay Stars of the NPB, the Nippon Professional Baseball League in Japan, regarded as one of the best leagues for all of baseball in the world. Bauer was super excited to join about this. He had talked about playing professional baseball in Japan and how he wanted to. So he signs with the Bay Stars again on that 1 year, $3 million deal. He pitched 24 games for the Bay Stars last season, going 11-14, 2.59 ERA, 1.1 WHIP, and he ended up finishing fifth in wins, 16th in innings pitched, and seventh in strikeouts in their Central League. And he was also named a Central League All Star for the year. So after Bauer finished in Japan, he was now a free agent and is free to sign anywhere. However, no teams are willing or wanting to sign Bauer at the moment. And Bauer even mentioned that he will play for the league minimum with player incentives. Now, the league minimum currently is around $740,000. So basically, any team that would sign him is now getting a former Cy Young winner and someone who was at a time one of the better pitchers in baseball for less than $1 million taken towards their payroll. And obviously, with the player incentives, if he reaches a certain number of strikeouts, wins, he would make more money. But at the least, he would be making $740,000. Now, there are some teams that I feel like should be interested, one of them being the Baltimore Orioles, who Trevor Bauer himself has said that he would like to play for. They just traded for Corbin Burns from the Brewers. They have a really good rotation, and they struggled with pitching in the postseason. So adding someone like Bauer would help them out. They also traded for Jack Flaherty last year from the Cardinals, but that didn't really go too well. Another team I can also see acquiring Bauer is the Milwaukee Brewers, who again just traded Corbin Burns to the Orioles. They haven't re-signed Brandon Woodruff as of yet. It could happen, but more than likely probably will not happen as he's dealing with Tommy John. There's a lot of teams, and I think a small market for Bauer would probably be best. So teams like the Brewers, the Diamondbacks, where the way Trevor Bauer is viewed in the MLB currently is there's half of the fan base that despises him, and there's another half, and the other half absolutely love him. So for Bauer to sign with a smaller market team, even if he wanted to come back to the Reds, for example, being in a smaller market, I believe, would benefit Bauer more because obviously he's going to get his coverage. It's going to be news if he signs somewhere, but there's not going to be as much as of a criticism from a smaller fan base than there would be a large market nationally, like New York, Boston, even Atlanta, who could be interested. But I do believe Trevor Bauer deserves a second chance. I think he's proven to be one of the better pitchers in baseball. I think he's a lot better than a lot of the guys that people are throwing in rotations currently. I think Trevor Bauer really can add merit to a pitching rotation that needs success, that needs to be in the postseason and needs to be locked down. I think Bauer can bring that. The only other thing is that he's been viewed as kind of a problem, obviously, with all the allegations that have happened recently. You also have the incident in 2016, the year when he was on the Indians and they went to the World Series, where days before his start in Toronto during the ALCS, he sliced his finger on a drum, causing it to bleed out and for him to be pulled out of the game early. A lot of people also think he's kind of not the greatest of teammates. He's had clash with people like Garrett Cole before in college and some other guys notably. But I do think that Trevor Bauer will add something to a team if they sign him. Thank you for watching. Again, please feel free to discuss in the comments. Obviously not everyone's going to agree with this. This is just my stance. So if you do want to sound off in the comments and let me know, should he be given a second chance? Should he not be given a second chance? You're more than welcome to.